here we go. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. What do you say? Are you ready to begin?
Hey everyone, my name's Greg Gizmozord Parker, and you are listening to Lords of the Storm, episode 129, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true Heroes of the Storm. I'm joined tonight, of course, by the Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Kevin Multizord Ellis and Ryan TBK Zord Reader. And on this week's episode, Gamescom. If you haven't heard yet, we got a lot of sweet announcements over the last few days, including the announcement of the newest hero that will be joining us in the Nexus. TBK called it once again. He is finally almost here. He is the Archlich of Naxxramas, esteemed Lich Lord of the Plaguelands, commander of the Dread Necropolis, master and founder of the Cult of the Damned, formerly of the Council of Six, creator of the Abomination, summoner of Archimand the Defiler, betrayer of humanity, Hearthstone enthusiast, and major domo to the Lich King himself, Kel'Thuzad.
Do you
He's
mean
here.
Kael'thas? I'm confused.
Kel'Thuzad.
I'm dying.
Kael'thas.
Oh, yes.
Did you rehearse that for a while, or?
No.
I'm impressed.
I did not. I knew I was going to do something, but yeah, he's
Of
here.
course.
But how are
I
you
feel
guys?
like I'm gonna have to do my own version of this.
Well, okay. Well, speaking of,
Speaking of,
so first off, I want to give a shout out to Core Gaming. He had sent in a clip of him doing that we could use on the show, and it sparked an idea that we're gonna have a little Kel'Thuzad intro contest. I think there's maybe a prize, probably not a prize. I don't know. This is last minute. And if you want, you can send in a clip, preferably audio clip, of you doing the Kel'Thuzad intro. And on the week that Kel'Thuzad actually enters the Nexus, not PTR, we'll go through. If we get a ton of them, we'll just kind of pick the top and play them. Or we'll get to play them all and select a winner of your best Kel'Thuzad announcement intro. So, Core Gaming, thank you again for sending that in. But now, how are you both doing tonight? Multi, are you doing good now?
Yeah, no, I'm here. Internet's working so far, knock on wood. But yeah, doing just fine. How are you doing?
Awesome. I am doing great. I'm shouting it to the top of the world. I got new internet again today. I feel like
That's right.
over the past 3 months, my internet situation has changed so much, like hopping back and forth between things. But for the current time, it is stable once again, the speeds, which means I can stream again. And more importantly, I can play Heroes again with like playable ping. I don't have to play Heroes where the ping isn't as important, which is awesome. So pumped for that. TBK, how are you doing?
I am doing really well. It's been a busy week. It's been a super busy week. So many Heroes announcements. I posted my baby number 2 announcement that is coming next March. So that's exciting. I posted that on Twitter. I got Twitch affiliate this week too. So man, yeah, it's been crazy. Quite a bit of Heroes play as well. I played a bunch. I streamed Monday, and then I streamed last night as well, and played a bunch of games with the core guys, and we actually dominated pretty well. We went 4-1, and we should have gone 5-0. We got a 1% core on the last game, 0 to 1%. It was the most insane thing ever. But I did get MVP with Li Ming 4 games in a row, so that was fun. It was probably because I just bought the new Li Ming skin, the StarCraft one, which is amazing, and the price was also reduced this last Tuesday, down from 2,400 gem or shards to the 1,600 for the normal legendary. So definitely picked one of those up because it's so cool. The spell effects are awesome. And what is the level 20? Astral. It's I'm having a brain fart right now. Regardless, it's the thing you can go into and just constantly shoot your beam. And the effect for that skin for it looks incredible. So cool. So had a lot of fun with Li Ming.
That brings up a really interesting point, though, because I was playing a lot today, and I had several games where there were Li Mings that were all getting MVP. So obviously, like, she's still a great hero. We haven't seen her really often for quite a while, because the pro scene. Well, is this an effect of the pro scene not using her as much, so people kind of just stop using her in quick match?
I don't know,
because
like time, and I play her.
Well, I mean, I've been seeing her a ton, and she's killing it. I saw her a ton today. She's in most of my games.
Skill cap,
but
some of the other mages.
Because if you still get her resets, like, she can just destroy. Yeah. But prior to that skin coming out, like, it was, you'd see him every once in a while. But I wonder if, like, the skin coming out's like people want to play her again, and now it's like, oh wait, Li Ming is still incredible, so now we're gonna see a ton of them.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, skins can do that. Like, if a good skin comes out, just like remember when the legendary Kerrigan skin came out, the Ghost Kerrigan skin. Kerrigan wasn't necessarily in a bad spot at that time, but she wasn't anything like crazy. But then you just saw tons and tons of Kerrigans.
I was playing Kerrigan before she was cool. I'm just saying.
You're a Kerrigan hipster.
Yes, I am.
I like it.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into the show here. TBK, first up, what do we got going on with the weekly collection update?
Well, before that, though, TBK, I feel like you're just glossing it over, man. Congrats. You have another kid.
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's going to be, like, in the same, grade as my kid. So that's awesome.
That's true. They'll probably be buddies.
Hopefully.
We're not finding out again. We're not finding out, so it's going to be a surprise.
Yeah. But they'll be buddies regardless. Even if they don't want to. We'll force it.
So it's either going to be Nova or Kale?
Stukov.
Kale Thoth? I don't know.
Remember, all potential baby names have to run through the wife filter of acceptability.
Alexei Stukov.
You need to make...
I'll send it to her right now.
You need to make the middle or first the middle initials KT, just because.
That you could actually do.
Yeah.
You could name him Kevin. I'm just saying. You could do it.
I did get my kind of geeky name already in, so I mean the jury's out because our son's name is Connor Kent Reader, and that's based off of Superboy, which is really cool. We both like the name, and it flows really well. It was just kind of a cool name, and so we've gotten to dress him up in little Superman apparel here and there. It's just been kind of fun. I don't know how easy it will be to get another one of those. I'm gonna have to work up to it.
Hey, well, you're off to a good start. I mean, she's making Heroes of the Storm shirts for the announcement.
She did make a sweet shirt for the Twitter announcement. And it's really cool because it says a new hero is joining the storm, and then it's got the Nexus symbol under it, but the Nexus symbol is placed so that it will stay in the center like throughout the pregnancy and kind of be in the center still.
Yeah.
Until it eventually just rips in half.
And it bursts out like alien.
Shirt? You have the weird stitching on the sides?
It is actually like a big shirt meant to be stretched.
There you go. It'll be fine.
It was made with that in mind. It's really cool. You can check. It's my pinned tweet. You can check it out. It's really cool. I wish I had artistic ability. I really do. Like there's just some days you'd look through Twitter and you're just like, man, I wish I could draw a little bit, maybe design a graphic. I don't know.
I used
Make
to
my
be.
stick figures.
I don't know what happened. It's just as an adult, I don't have the time to learn cool things anymore. Like later on in the show, your shout out is awesome, and I wish I could do that, but I can't do that. But
this is just getting too real. We need to get back to here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, agreed.
All right,
Sorry,
so
I didn't mean to steer it in that direction.
Weekly
That's
collection
never my
update.
intent.
What do we got?
So this week we have Probius and Sylvanas on sale. We also have the Ascendant Probius Prime skin, which is like the black and red one, which is pretty cool. The Indigo Li Ming Real Dream Asmodunk. Fervent Love Goddess Tyrande. Nightmare Shandu Illidan, and the Molten Druid of the Flame Malfurion, which is an extremely cool skin. It's got some cool effects. We also have the Armored War Steed, and if you want to pick up one of the sweet cloud mounts, it is on gem sale this week, the Azure Nimbus Cloud.
Yeah, that's not one of the sweet cloud mounts. It's one of the it's one of the okay cloud mounts. We don't get people's hopes up.
It is
There's
okay.
no
It
face
is
on
a cloud mount, and all cloud mounts are pretty dang cool. But no, it does not have a face on it.
That's an important part. I'm just saying.
I'm sure that those will come eventually.
Speaking of Probius, though, on this list, how about that key art for BlizzCon?
I was a little surprised.
I was too.
I'm surprised.
It looks cool.
I'm okay with it. Like, I don't know if I would put a Probius poster up. Well, okay, I would. I would probably put any of that key art stuff as a poster in my office because it's all absolutely incredible. But yeah, it was an interesting choice.
He's officially the poster child of Heroes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chromie was the key art last year too, which was another odd pick.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Do they only choose like small heroes?
I don't know.
It's small so they can fit on the
so far.
Yeah, it's a little badge, so they have to be small to fit on it. I don't know.
I guess
the poster's cool. I would rather have a Probius plushie, I think.
Oh yeah.
I don't collect plushies, but I want to collect plushies. Probably. I don't know. Like I said, I don't collect them. All right. So, Multi, you're back this week. Why don't you take us through the free Heroes of the Week?
All right. So, this week we've got a couple interesting heroes. If you start with the supports or supportee type self-healers, we've got Malfurion and Tassadar there. Thrall heals himself enough. He's a support. He doesn't need anyone else. He's fine. He's cool. Gul'dan, in a similar vein, if you just spam W the whole game, that's all you need. You just never die. Pro tip. We've also got Johanna, who also doesn't die if you play her right. Dahaka, who, probably does, but whatever. Just be careful.
3 health bars, no biggie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can
He's super hard to kill. He's my main in Hero League.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Cassia is hard to die to auto attacks if you play her correctly. And then you've got Vala, who's just always solid. And then you've got my least favorite, Gazlo. Who I think the only thing I know how to do on him is die. So he's in there. But of course, we've got the tiered slots. We got Chen at 5, Illidan at 10, Chromie at 15, and Sergeant Hammer at 20, which we're going to get into this later, but super MVP of the animation, Sergeant Hammer.
Yeah.
Flat out. But anyway.
It's true.
I don't want to spoil it. If you guys haven't seen that yet, though, just go now before we start talking about it.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
She's the reason she's level 20, her skill cap has actually been raised because there's unknown abilities that you can do. And so they're wanting people to figure that out, by level 20.
Oh.
Then she's free.
Such as jump out of the tank and punch someone?
Exactly.
Okay.
That. All right, I want to give a quick patron update. I want to give a special shout out to Ryan, our newest patron. Thank you for supporting us.
You're
Please, not you. You don't. And your Zord name's TBK Zord. Hey, welcome to the Zord Lights. Now, and I'm going to start doing this differently again this time. So if you get the $5 tier with the Zord title, I'm going to give you a shout out on the show this week. And then now you have till next week to contact us, Discord, Patreon, email, any way you want to, Twitter, to give us your preferred Zord title. Otherwise, next week you are TBK Zord squared. I'm just kidding, but we'll give you something.
There can be only one.
You're
gonna start a Highlander situation.
We're gonna have a Probius 1v1 to see who the real TBK Zord is.
Ooh.
No, right. if we're doing some sort of TBKs or competition, it's going to be a Nova 1v1.
We'll see.
Good luck.
All right. And let's go ahead and get on into the news. First up, Lords of the Lane 7 is coming this Sunday, August 27th? Yes, August 27th, 2 p.m. Central. And that is, again, our 2v2 tournament. We need teams sign up to have a tournament. So there's plenty of spots left. Get your team signed up, and we will get that going. We'll stay in contact with all the teams that do sign up. That's over at shalonge.com/Lords of the Lane 7. That has all the rules, the information that you need on it. It's a blast. It's a good time. Be there or be TBK Zord Square.
Yes.
Do that.
And no one wants that. No one wants that.
All right. So now, the Kill Thazad intro video that we anime, I guess one could say, that we saw.
I would call it an animatic.
Animatic? Okay.
Yeah, see, I didn't get an anime feel from it, but I got like a Saturday morning cartoons feel from
It's like
it, which
He-Man.
was awesome.
It was
yes,
like He-Man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Because I classify these things into like cinematic, which is like your pre-rendered, cool thing like they showed with the Hearthstone intro, they do with the Overwatch shorts or whatever, or like they did with the Varian Ragnaros trailer. Then you've got Machinima, which is like the in-engine stuff that they do. And then I'm just calling this one an animatic.
Okay.
Because it's an animation cinematic.
And guys, I am slacking again. I need somebody to remind me. Next time we have like a video, be like, hey, Gizmo, get this to where we can show it while we're doing the podcast to the people in the podcast.
Gizmo. Come on.
I'm
But if
slacking.
the people in the stream haven't seen it yet, I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah, I mean, you should have seen it, but it's nice to be able to see it as we're talking about it. But if you haven't seen it, or just to give a short recap here, so it is Jaina, Sergeant Hammer, Sonya,
Zagara,
and Johanna. Are those the only?
Varian.
You see a little bit of Varian, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of Varian.
Kel'Thuzad.
Kind of walk in. Well, we'll get there.
Well, yes.
But
And of course that.
Yeah, they're walking in, fighting some minions, and all of a sudden, Jaina leaps up and turns all green-eyed, and the skin is here that we have. Let's be honest, pretty much everyone has known this skin was going to be in here at some point. But
I want to
yes,
call this. I want to call this
at BlizzCon
because I had an art interview last BlizzCon. You can go back and listen to the episode with Phil Gonzalez, and I am almost 100% positive he alluded to this very skin in our interview.
Yeah.
Well, didn't you make some comment? Because wasn't it?
I did. I made a
meme
comment
already?
about
Essentially, like Jaina is a dreadlord, and then you made some comment.
It's been a meme for years, and so
Yeah.
I asked him about it, and he started going, "Oh, that's interesting. We got some cool stuff coming for Jaina that you might like."
Yeah.
Right,
That's
something like that.
exact quotation, I'm sure, from the interview. And so that was a really cool kind of callback, because as soon as I saw that, I was just like, "Oh, Phil,
Yeah.
you tease."
So
Well, as soon as we saw the little teaser picture with the green in her eye, I was already thinking like, "Oh, could this really be it?"
yeah.
And
Oh,
I think I made a tweet to that effect. Like, I don't know if I can handle Dreadlord Jaina and Death Knight Jaina in Hearthstone at the same time. Like, this is just too many lives Jaina's leading right now. She's taken on so much evil.
She has. But yeah, so she turns evil. Death Knight Sonya, which is a new skin, kind of turns around to fight as well. And then Spider Queen Zagara rises up and flips Sergeant Hammer's tank over. And Sergeant Hammer gets out, punches her in the face. It's really cool. And then, of course, yes, Kel'Thuzad comes up and wrecks people's faces with his abilities. My question here, though, is where was Arthas in this intro video? Aren't they supposed they are like buddy buddies? So I was expecting
Arthas
This was just under his pay grade.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
I would have, just to keep people guessing. I mean, a lot of people assumed it was Kel'Thuzad, but like just to, instead of Kel'Thuzad walking forward first, it'd be Arthas, and then, hey, go get him, Lieutenant. Former
maybe,
of
but, I mean,
the six.
That would have
really
taken away from
too much.
Yeah, probably.
Kel'Thuzad, though.
Probably. But yes, so that was the official announcement. Since then, we've seen a lot of videos here that we'll get into. But first, coming up, there is a screen.
Wait, why are we not talking about this more? Where is the Netflix deal?
Agreed.
For my Castlevania like 13 episodes of Heroes of the Storm, season 1, Blizzard. Come on, you can't just give me this
Sounds
animation and not make a deal with Netflix or something. That's ridiculous. Like I need this in my Saturday morning life, or I need this like binge watchable. Give me 22-minute episodes of Heroes of the Storm goodness. I mean, look, they do whatever they want. They're on Towers of Doom. You got tons of maps. Look at all those locations. That's perfect.
I will.
This is an outsourced studio too, right? This is a sweet animation studio. So it's not like you just be like, okay, dudes, here's our story guys. They're gonna make up story things because that's what story guys do. And then it's like, here, animation dudes, go take this and make sweet things. And the animation dudes are like, sure, no problem. And then they come back and it's this.
It's actually in the job description for story guys to make story things.
I know.
I think that's the top line.
That's it.
I have huge faith in them. And also to address the rumors, no, it was not a bad thing that Varian went twin blades. He had a tank on his team already. It was perfectly viable for him to go twin blades. I don't want to hear any of that crap that if he had taunt, things would have gone better. Twin blades is fine. Johanna did not do her job.
That's
no,
true.
she did not.
That's true. And I will say, this is my favorite little video that we've gotten from the Heroes team so far. Even more than the Ragnaros video, which looked great, but I am an anime sucker. And it really props to them for making it look like an old 90s Saturday morning cartoon.
It really did hit
style.
all the right notes.
Major props.
Yeah, it's pretty darn incredible. But yeah, hopefully we'll see more of those. And yeah, I wouldn't mind a show as well, but we can hope, I guess. BlizzCon announcement. Mm-hmm. So, and also they did another cool thing. They made like this event name is the Call of Kel'Thuzad, and it's kind of like a WoW expansion type thing. If you look at it, here's the Storm Call of Kel'Thuzad, which is really neat. But yes, it is an event. They're going to be doing a whole bunch of cool things for this. There is a event quest line that's called Obey the Call. So there's 4 quests. The first one is if you play a game with Kel'Thuzad present on either team, you'll get a ghoul portrait. And then I assume the rest of these are also if there's a Kel'Thuzad on either team. I don't know for sure though. But the next one,
I'm pretty sure the whole thing is you just need to have a Kel'Thuzad on your team. You don't necessarily need to play him.
Or the other team.
You just need to have a Kel'Thuzad, on your team.
Gotcha.
Let's be honest,
Or the
there's going to be one on every team.
There's going to be one on both teams for a while.
Maybe not with the mirror matchups.
The first quest?
No, I don't know. That's the thing, because it doesn't specify. But it would make sense if it was. But the next one is get 30 takedowns in winning games. You'll get the Acolyte portrait. Then get 60 takedowns in winning games. We'll get the Necromancer portrait and a Blight spray. And then finally 90 takedowns in winning games. You'll get the Call of Kel'Thuzad portrait and a Naxxramas Warcrest banner, which is
that
pretty
banner
darn
looks
sweet.
amazing.
So cool.
Yeah, I wonder if it's animated.
I'm sure
Like
it is.
where it kind of
ooze
like
coming
drips
down
with the ooze.
It's basically a mini version of Nax, like gushing ooze, plague, crap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of need that.
That is cool. We'll see if there's any other stuff coming up. Also, they're doing I believe it's a 5-part series of kind of bringing or how reanimating Kel'Thuzad, resurrecting Kel'Thuzad, 5-episode series, which I watched. There's like a 2-minute teaser that you can watch about this, and it is going to be, or it looks like it's going to be really awesome. So it kind of goes around, people from all different teams, Heroes of the Storm, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, talking about how...
Dude, it starts off with with his voice.
Yes.
Jeff Kaplan. I don't know if you guys
his
listen
voice.
to Cavalry or not, but they have a section called the Church of Kaplan.
Praise him.
And yeah, our Devon Savior starting off the video. I had goosebumps when that started up. And then Ben Rhodes in this thing. And I'm all about this.
And Sperian's in it.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a whole bunch of people.
There's a lot of recognizable. There's a lot of people I recognize.
Ken Eric Hagman was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just goes on to talk about how, Kel'Thuzad is, been in the Blizzard universe for 20 years. And this is their first time really touching him, like, animation-wise, since World of Warcraft. Obviously, he was in there. So just going through the process and what it's been like and how it's been one of the most requested heroes forever. And so how there's kind of a lot of pressure on bringing him into the game and the thought process behind it. So I am super excited for it. And
I love these things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
These things are so cool because I'm the guy who always got the WoW special editions just so I could have the sweet, what do you call it, behind the scenes DVDs and stuff. Because those, like, all the WoW behind the scenes stuff was really cool. And not only that, they memed this so hard because they released the little spotlight video for him. And so at the end of the spotlight and inside this documentary trailer, there's a dude on Reddit, and his name is escaping me off the top of my head. But for months and months and months, anytime a new hero is about to be released, he was the one that came up with this crazy intro that Greg talked about at the beginning of the show. The ruler of Naxxramas, the major domo of the Lich King, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yes.
He was the one that did that. And so Blizzard took that and made that a part of both the Resurrecting Kel'Thuzad trailer and the end of the Hero Spotlight video where Cloakin did it. And it was beautiful, and I loved it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that was fantastic.
And so this all happened at Gamescom. There's been a ton of stuff, not necessarily as much content as we got last year. We don't have the maps or a map that was announced. It was Kel'Thuzad and 3 skins. No, 4.
At least 3 or 4 skins.
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 skins. Potentially more. Typically with these patches, they always throw in different shades of skins and stuff like that. A mount.
We don't have an in-dev video yet.
Yeah. A mount that's been shown. Again, there are streamers that are at the event, and they're kind of able to go into this patch and find stuff. Looks like Illidan's Nightmare mount is finally getting into the game, which is a really cool, bone horse with big horns and stuff, which is cool. And announcers, but more importantly, there's hero changes too, which we'll get to in a minute. But let's get back to Kel'Thuzad and his kit. So I know a lot of people were expecting him to potentially be some sort of specialist. He is in fact an assassin, and I gotta say, I am slightly terrified of how powerful he may be. So he looks like he's going to be a higher skill cap hero, but with the potential to do a poop ton of damage if you're good at it, especially.
That's the technical term.
And I mean,
Yes.
these hero intro videos that they do, they always make him look really strong. Like every ability is one-shotting and stuff. But man, this thing, the amount of CC he has. So do we have a list? I don't know if I had. There we go.
Yeah, there's some
There should
lists.
be, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But his trait here is the first that we have seen of this kind. It is a quest trait. And
Well, it's the first on a new hero.
new hero. They've gone back and
Yeah, because
right.
like
Fixed.
Butcher's got one.
yes. Why my fast internet is being slow now? There we go. So, Master of the Cold Dark. This is you gain 1 blight every time a hero is rooted by Frost Nova or hit by Chains of Kel'Thuzad, which are 2 of his abilities. 15 blight. Cooldown of all basic abilities reduced by 2 seconds, and after 30, you gain 75% spell power.
Has to
Which
be a bit of a
sounds
Power
ridiculous,
spike.
but it's not quite as ridiculous as you might think, because his scaling does not work like other heroes' scaling does for his ability damage.
Okay. So that is
It is a giant power spike, Let's not downplay that. But from what I was reading, at least, it doesn't look like his abilities scale the same way that other heroes' abilities scale.
So it's substantial, but you're not going to be like one-shotting Vala or anything crazy.
No.
Yeah, that'll
probably not, unless you're landing like an entire combo and a level or two up with your quest done or something,
including like Shadow Fissure and stuff. Yeah.
That'll be interesting to look at, because what typically
he will be able to do a lot of damage though.
Typically things go up by like what 0.4 or
4% is
per level.
The normal scaling.
So we'll have to take a look at that whenever he actually comes out. But that's going to be one of the things that goes into kind of the skill cap, is how fast can you get this quest completed so that you have that edge. But we'll go into his primary abilities here. Death and Decay, which is his Q. After a half a second, you launch an orb that explodes upon hitting an enemy, dealing 150 damage to enemies in the area. That will then leave behind a pool of decay that lasts 2 seconds, dealing 70 damage every half second. Okay, doesn't seem like a ton of damage. Frost Nova. Create a Nova that explodes after 1 second, dealing 212 damage to enemies inside, slowing them by 35% for 2.5 seconds. Enemies in the center are rooted for 1 second, and then also slowed after that root stun. Chains of Kel'Thuzad.
So cool.
Launch a chain dealing 97 damage to the first enemy hero or structure hit. 4 seconds after hitting an enemy, chains can be reactivated to launch to an additional enemy, pulling both enemies together and stunning them for a half a second. And it's important to note that the second launch is launched from the chained enemy. So kind of like how you control Misha. You're not shooting one from you.
This is the first ever double skill shot.
Yes.
In Heroes.
Which is super cool.
You have the skill shot from Kel'Thuzad, and then another skill shot from the hero. And beyond what it actually says in this description, yes, you can target another hero and pull them together. But you can also target a structure and pull them to the structure.
Yes.
Yep. The video had a really cool shot of him pulling in someone to his own fort and causing the kill that way. So
as well
really
as
do with this.
Other talents he can get that are activatable abilities, like an ice block coming up. You can chain to that, which that thing then explodes. So already calling it, Kel'Thuzad and Garrosh going to be an amazing combo. He flips someone back. He doesn't even have to be within tower range now. You flip somebody back, you chain them to your tower, and that person is dead early game. So that's going to be a pretty high skill cap skill ability to use there.
Yes.
Then let's get to his heroic abilities. So Frost Blast. This looks amazing.
It really
does. By
the
way.
Actually, both these ultimates look really, really good.
Before this, I would say the most terrifying looking ult in game is Pyroblast, because there's a giant fireball coming at you faster and faster. This might take that. It's a giant ball of ice in the air.
The ice version of that.
Covered in chains.
It travels almost the same speed, or so it looked like in the video anyway. So same kind of idea, but then when this thing hits you, yeah.
So
but go ahead.
So it's launch a meteor of ice at an enemy. Upon impact, the meteor deals 100 damage to its target and 275 damage to enemies in the area. All enemies hit by Frozen Tomb are rooted for 1.5 seconds. Insane. That sounds insane. And then we have a global heroic ability, Shadow Fissure. Create a fissure anywhere on the battleground that explodes after 1.5 seconds, dealing 440 damage to enemy heroes in its area.
So this one's really interesting because it is only on a 15-second cooldown.
Yeah.
What?
I've been seeing a lot of people comparing it to Nova's Precision Strike, which is on a 60-second cooldown. And in principle, it's kind of the same. It is a global, but it is a smaller radius. It does not hit structures. It does not hit minions. And it also has, again, the 1.5 second before it actually explodes. So it only damages heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Still very, 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 very useful.
I mean,
and do you have to have vision to get it off, or can you just throw it in the dark?
Unknown. We'll have to find out. I would
hint...
assume you can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
The video seemed to hint it was vision only, but it could just be the way they worded that sentence. They said something to that effect, but anyway, we'll see.
I mean, all you have to do to make this effective is, hit the really hard combo that they were showing in the clip, which is chain two enemies together that come together into your what's it called? Frost Nova to stun them,
Frost
and then
Nova
throw
plus
this underneath them,
Shadowfisher.
and bam.
It sounds super easy.
Just do that every time, and
Every time,
you'll be in
100%.
HGC.
Also worth mentioning here, Hey J84 mentioned Chains of Kel'Thuzad do not work on allied structures. So there goes my
Okay.
enemy
Garrosh.
structures.
Yeah, so it has to be enemy structure, which is less cool, but still pretty darn cool. So short discussion here on fantasy. I didn't go up against Kel'Thuzad in the raid. I didn't play him in Warcraft 3. I don't know. What's your guys' opinions? If you went up against him and have any background on him, I just knew who he was. Does this hit for you guys?
It does for me. I didn't play Warcraft 3 yet anyway, but I did play the Wrath of the Lich King run through Nexramas. I wasn't geared enough to do the real Nexramas back in vanilla. Wah wah. But anyway, no, it seems to hit on it pretty well. He's got some abilities that are Death Knight-y, like Death and Decay, but then, he's got Frost Nova, he's got these chains, which all ties into his encounter. If I'm not mistaken, the Shadow Fissure was a big thing in the encounter as well.
Yes.
It's kind of a thing that you don't want to step in. But so that was cool to see. And I mean, I don't know, Frost Blast, I don't have any issues with. It seems like the root's going to be really cool. I love roots in general in this game. So the more of those, the merrier I am. And I'm super pumped for them. So I think they hit it pretty well. By the way, they jumped straight into essentially the star theme for the skin. Did you guys see that one? Star Lich Kel'Thuzad?
Yeah.
Yes.
They did not
It looks
pull that
so
punch
good.
at all. It looks so good.
It looks so good. And while we're on the subject of skins, Blizzard, please, I want a Lil KT skin.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I need Lil Ragnaros is lonely, and he wants a Lil friend.
A
called
little
Lil
big
KT.
friend. Little big friend.
Because it's one of my favorite WoW pets of all time. Because it just goes around and follows you and shoots little ice bolts at critters and freezes them. It's a cute little dude. Cute little laugh. Terrifying. I would love to see a little skin though for him. That'd be awesome.
This Star Lich skin for some reason gave me the idea because he's shaped somewhat like a Christmas tree. So I need a Christmas tree Kel'Thuzad for Christmas this year.
Yeah.
I see that. That's very doable.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it would keep the same shape and stuff. Not to be bouncing back and forth between topics, but speaking of skins, Dreadlord Jaina, I think this is the most thinning of the line between hero silhouettes that we will have in the game thus far.
Yep.
And I'm okay with it. I don't think I'm going to get confused. I don't think I'm going to be sitting here and saying, oh, am I fighting a Kerrigan? No.
Yeah.
If they're casting frostbolts and stuff,
and
it's Jaina.
In all honesty, I would, now that because I do play League of Legends fairly often now, as well as Heroes. And with playing that game more, the skins in that game can go way beyond recognition. But I don't have any problems knowing who those people are, even though there's a ton more champions that I don't even know all the champions in that game. So I think this is fine, and I think they can probably push it a little more if they have like some really cool ideas. I
think I've gotten to the point where if it's that cool, I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Just if the people don't bother to look at who they're playing against in the loading screen or throughout the draft and not be able to recognize it, well, then they just need to get good, bro.
Now, do we know what her animations are like? Have you seen any streams or anything to that effect?
And they're amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of Jaina, let's hop back to the fantasy thing. We're just little bunny rabbits tonight. I think they did a really good job of differentiating KT from Jaina. Because you do have two very similar archetypes. Because Jaina is a frost mage assassin, and Kel'Thuzad now is a frost mage assassin. But they managed to really hit that lich feel and the frost feel without, I think, treading on Jaina's her deal, her thing, the way she does stuff. And so I'm really happy about that. and I think they'll both have a place.
That's a good point, but how can you differentiate KT from KT? This is a real question people have been
Blizzard
bringing up
responded to this.
Okay.
Blizzard responded to this. So Matt Villers actually posted on the official forums and said that inside of Blizzard, they had come to an agreement or whatever on the naming convention, and Kel'Thuzad was being referred to as KT, and Kael'thas was being referred to as Kale.
It makes
That's
sense because your
So there
little
you go.
KT skin is literally called Lil KT.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
The real KT, please stand up.
Hey, you know what they should do? Instead of giving us Lil KT, they should give us Lil KT. A Lil Kael'thas instead.
No,
Just
no,
as-
Oh, no.
no, no. That
No,
would be the
no,
ultimate way to
no
troll
Lil
TBK,
Kael'thazad.
so
TBK would not be. I mean,
Oh,
I'm super happy because it'd probably be incredibly cute and super adorable and fun. But no,
But let's getting back on topic here of Gamescom and all the stuff happening there. People seem to be really enjoying Kel'Thuzad. His gameplay, I've heard people say he feels kind of like early on Kael'thas. Just another KT thing. But I am super excited. I think this is the most excited I've been for an assassin in quite some time.
yeah.
Potentially.
There's actually a few talents I wanted to hit on
Okay.
as well that are kind of stand out. His level 4 is really interesting, and this is something that I have been preaching and asking for a really long time. Was more shield busters, right?
Yes.
That's just I've been really hitting on that because up until now, it's Varian at level 13. That's really the only thing another hero has to deal with shields. Now, Kel'Thuzad at level 4 can take a talent named, ironically enough, Strip Shields, which pulling a hero with the Chains of Kel'Thuzad grants Kel'Thuzad a permanent 246 shield, stacking up to 2 times. And additionally, chains deal up to 442 at 20 bonus damage to shields. So basically just extra bonus damage to knock out the shields. So that's really cool and a nice situational talent.
So it's not as good of a shield breaker as Varians, but
Not quite.
it has it.
You
I mean,
get a
it has
shield
extra utility
too
built in,
from
right?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that
then
they're
he-
just playing with that concept.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, we needed more of this type of thing. We've been seeing more of these like healing reduction talents starting to like make their way in, right? And so seeing more of these type of talents, I love these situational ones. It's like, okay, I know I'm facing a Tassadar in this match, so it would behoove me to grab this talent on Kel'Thuzad to give my team an edge, and I can target people and whatever. Level 4, he's also got Phylactery of Kel'Thuzad, which is really interesting. So you collect, it's a quest. You collect 10 regen globes to charge Kel'Thuzad's Phylactery. The reward is you can activate his Phylactery while dead to immediately respawn at the Hall of Storms if you've collected the 10 globes. But after you do it, it's got to charge again with another 10 globes.
If I eat 10 tacos from Taco Bell, I charge my phylactery.
And
point.
then you discharge it
All at once.
hours later. All at once.
And you die, but you come back.
Episode title: The Charging and Discharging of Your Phylactery.
Oh my god,
Dangerous title.
it is. But the cool thing is there's a built-in like safeguard to it. It's not something you want to just use willy-nilly, right? Because Kel'Thuzad heals for 10% of all spell damage dealt while it's charged, which is really interesting too. So you only get that benefit if you don't use the resurrection until you have to collect the globes again. So that's pretty cool.
What level is that?
Level 4.
See, that's really cool because we have Malthael who has his level 21, which at that point there's very few situations where you wouldn't choose to resurrect just because death timers are so big. There's some situations where you'd hold off on it. But at level 4, this is more like Diablo except having a choice. Obviously, Diablo is buffed whenever he doesn't have to use all of his soul shards. But having, the choice, it's a 20-second cooldown, and my team's fine right now. I don't have to pop this. I can stay powerful when I come back. So I really enjoy that, even though it's scary having another, avoiding death mechanic in the game. We're coming back to Resurgence.
Yeah. And I like it, but they're doing it in a much smarter way.
Yeah.
This time around. And then you mentioned this, Greg, Glacial Spike. This is an activatable at level 7. You activate to create a spike that detonates after 4 seconds, deals damage to nearby enemies. The spike can be affected by chains of Kel'Thuzad, 30-second cooldown, and it's got collision.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like a miniature Tassadar wall.
Yeah, they showed it in the video actually blocking small little choke points, which was kind of cool.
Even more control.
Yeah. Let's see. And then he's got some really interesting level 21s as well. Shifting Malice. This is really kind of cool because this is basically makes him Genji. It's Genji Zod. You activate to dash forward, dealing 250 damage at level 21 or whatever. You deal damage to enemies in your path. Takedowns reset the cooldown of it. But it is a 240-second cooldown.
So you have to get the takedown.
So yeah, like this is kind of it's your execution move, right? They say you basically get a Genji Swift Strike type thing, but I assume it's probably a lot wider than that. So you probably have a little more room to play around with it. But if you miss the kill on it, it's a big deal. Because 240 seconds at level 20 is a really long time.
Yeah.
Seems like kind of a niche one compared to the Damned Return, though, where it's an activatable to create a Shade of Naxxramas that lasts 15 seconds, mimicking Kel'Thuzad's Death and Decay. And it has a 15-second cooldown, so 100% uptime. I'm guessing you're resetting their locations, but seems cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, he looks like a blast to play, and we do have the dates for him PTR next week and live update if it all goes well the week after. So we will have more information on that. There also are some other things that some of the streamers and stuff that were out there playing this build have noticed and reported on. And we'll go over some of these. We won't talk in depth on all of them just because, this stuff will be in PTR eventually. Correct.
Yeah, they'll be patched.
Right.
But the
Jaina
ones...
and Kel'Thuzad announcer, you kind of mentioned it. I have to throw this in. I want them to make an announcer for every new hero they release. Like I really hope they're doing that. The people in the voice studio, right? Just have them say a few more lines like 3, 2, 1, or that was an awesome kill. Whatever.
I totally want that voice line.
And
we're getting the TPK voice line of it.
It's cool we're getting Jaina though. Like I really like. I think Amy Bailey does Jaina's voice.
We need a Dreadlord Jaina announcer pack too.
That'd be sweet.
I wonder if there'll be Dreadlord Jaina lines within it. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I know there's a voice modulator for the actual skin itself. So that's why I got some sweet lines.
Yeah. All right. Things worth mentioning on the talent screen and user interface. The scoreboard is now going to show quest progress for baseline quests like Kel'Thuzad and Azebo Butcher, just to name a few. Kill feed's going to show portraits and circles now. It's going to show quest completion. It's going to show denied stacking quests like Convection and Touchable, Wizened Duelist, which are really neat. And there will be a special icon in Death Timer for KT Resurrect, unconfirmed for Uther and Malthael. Hero changes that are worth mentioning here. Chromie this is probably the one I'm most excited about. So they are taking what was the talent, the Piercing Sands, away. That's going to be kind of built-in baseline, kind of. So there's a baseline Q quest. Per hit on Q, you'll get +5 damage on heroes. On 80 hits, past and future me becomes active, where you shoot a lower damage Q from past position. So that's really neat. Can potentially get that much earlier in the game. However, they are reducing the Q damage, base damage, from the get-go. So you'll
to compensate for
yeah.
that.
So it's
Yeah,
gonna
makes
they're
sense.
raising the skill cap for her, which makes sense here. There's gonna be a stat counter, which adds bonus stacks to damage stacks. If you hit 3, this is removed quests and it's just built in. If you hit 3 Qs in a row, it's going to give triple bonus damage. I believe 2 is double. So again, it's just more skill cap raising for her. And then another cool one, level 13, reaching through time, has been removed. Now, is it still called reaching through time?
The range was removed on the spell.
Yes.
It's just got new functionality.
So you'll be able to swap locations with the sand clones from your baseline Q quest, which can potentially that's actually quite a big deal for her survivability. That is going to be pretty nice for her. And then level 20 piercing sands is going to be infinite through heroes, but no quests, procs for pierces. Temporal loop upgrade. After finishing temporal loop, you can cast it immediately again on the same hero.
And they're saying
That's
that
pretty cool.
the streamer mentioned on that level 13 where you can swap it with your sand clone, that you can be back to base to get full health and mana and instantly teleport back to the battlefield where your clone is.
That's nuts.
Wow. So she's going to go from being one of the best 2v2 heroes in the game to one of the best 2v2 heroes in the game. Just think this through for Lords of the Lane this weekend, guys.
I would almost bet that doesn't make it to live. I bet they put a range on it. Because that's nuts.
If you like it, then you should have put a range on it. I'm sorry.
Yes, and the bonus damage is a quest as well. I don't know what the
I think
hits.
it's just once you hit the max, once you hit your max stacks
On
to
80.
get the past and future me to become active, then you get reduced bonus damage for each you hit. So like adds a bonus stack to the damage stack, so the consecutive ones give plus 10 instead of plus 5, blah blah blah. But yeah, I think there's a way to stack it. I don't know exactly. We'll know exactly all the facts on this when the PTR comes out.
Because
this
again,
is
this
just kind
is
of overviews.
Yeah, this is just from what people have been playing at the build. There's been nothing like officially released. The other one that I think is big, Lieutenant Morales, mana.
Oh my gosh,
Gone.
So
It's gone.
this is really interesting to me because I play a lot of Lieutenant Morales. And
just read the first line of this. I think that
well, I
has
mean,
enough
okay,
impact.
mana removed. Like,
There you go.
I don't know if Blizzard has done a rework on a hero that will change the hero as significantly as this change is going
Is
to
that
be.
one simple thing? Well, it's not simple.
Because
But
well, we're switching resources entirely.
Mhm.
We're going from mana based stuff to cooldown based, which is a completely different animal.
Oh, yeah.
And so now, at least from what it looks like, you've got a rapidly recharging and rapidly depleting energy. So it looks like she'll be more of a burst healer.
somebody was
than-
saying on
than before.
Twitter that if you're using your heal, it will deplete in 17 seconds and it will take 20 seconds to fully charge.
So
Okay.
slightly slower on the recharge. That makes sense.
And apparently you have to have 3 seconds of not using it to start the regeneration.
Which is a while, honestly.
It is.
That's an eternity.
Especially, so the thing I hated about going against Morales was she just made fights so long. And this is obviously going to put a limit on that. But really now the question is, like, is she going to be effective with that now? I think it's going to be...
The nice thing is that time recharge and the whole recharge in general is a tool that Blizzard now can tweak
Yes.
based on
True.
how much they want her to heal or how much extra they want her to have. So I mean that's good. They've got a balance option there. Safeguard and grenade are cooldown based now, which is kind of interesting. She's got a new trait that returns 2% max health per second to Morales while she's channeling. So no more couples
that's cool.
therapy, and no more auto baseline healing just by not getting hit like Muradin's thing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Which is kind of interesting.
Mhm.
Some interesting grenade talents. She's got a really cool one on, I think it's 13. EMP grenade deals extra damage to shields. Oh, another shield breaker talent.
Extra damage
That's
to
cool.
shields.
Yeah, a lot of extra damage to shields. Cleanse was removed. It's another big one because Morales is one of the few supports that has cleanse left as just a baseline ability. So that now turns into Vanadium. I probably said that horribly wrong. Plating, which is an extra 25 armor on W. And if you're stunned, it extends the duration of the W. So
yeah,
that's kind of interesting. Or physical therapy, where W removes all slows from the target. So they're doing this like niche thing again, where it's like this healer might be better at dealing with stuns or slows.
This is the direction they want to move in. I mean, it's confirmed now.
It seems to be, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what Nate was talking to us back
exactly
when we interviewed him a few weeks ago. So some interesting medevac upgrades at 20, which is kind of cool. One gives protected status for 2 seconds upon exiting the medevac. It's kind of interesting.
Okay.
The other creates a check-in point at the Hall of Storms in case you are where your teammates aren't. So I assume that means you click a location, it jumps you back to the Hall of Storms first to like heal up or pick up people, and then jumps you to the location you want to go to.
That's kind of cool.
That's
so they can all kind of hearth back and rally, and that makes sense.
Yeah. So here's a theory. Multi, you might be happy about this. So essentially, Lieutenant Morales' play style is completely different now. It's a much more active play style, which some people will really like. I'm holding off all judgment until I get a trier on the PTR, because some people really did like the, hang back. You manage your queue, because if you're in a good game, managing your queue correctly was not super easy.
No.
Because you had to make sure you were healing the right person and whatnot. So it's going to be a very different play style, I think, for Morales in general. I think in some ways this change in play style opens up the possibility, or more of a possibility, that now Mercy makes more sense to the game.
Yeah,
it's a good point. She could work totally differently.
Because old Morales is basically Mercy, how her healing beam worked. So what if I don't know if this is the reasoning for the change or not. I mean, Morales has been due for kind of a tweak, reworked for a little while, because they wanted to add a little more depth to her. But it just seems to me as if this now differentiates Morales enough that they could put Mercy into the game and have a similar mechanic to old Morales, but tweaked or specialized or something, and not have her just be called a clone.
It's
perhaps.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they made this change. I've actually, for some reason, had been thinking lately on ways they could have differentiated between the two, and I think it could still make sense now that she's gone the energy route. Is having, obviously Mercy's big thing is the healing beam. Instead of having that used like Morales's, where it's you just put it on player and it goes until you're out of energy now, is it's within a range, you can cast it. It would be your Q, and then so it's a castable ability, uses mana, just a set amount of mana, and then you have to stay within a certain range to heal. So it's kind of like a heal over time if you're staying within that range. If you get too far away, the beam breaks, just like in Overwatch.
Just like
and
in
it's
Overwatch.
like a
and
little.
it could be a pretty short range, like a couple body lanes.
And it's
That's
like a faster heal over time. So you can get like no heal off and have wasted that mana, or you get the entire thing off and get your bang for your buck. So kind of off topic, but the discussion led to it.
Just possibilities. They could be opened up. So I'm really excited.
Guys. I'm more hopeful for Mercy now that I've.
I thought you'd be happy.
Yes.
About that. I mean, but yeah, other than the Chromie and the Morales, Leoric's getting some pretty major talent changes and swaps around. Like you said, we'll dive into depth on all these a lot more next week when PTR actually comes out. The one, and Jane is getting a few tweaks, nothing huge, but the one really cool thing I liked is they're making Ice Block baseline.
Yeah.
Now, which is really cool. And so all you need to do upon dealing 15, it looks like 15,000 critical damage, which is damage dealt while the enemy has your trait, the Frostbitten or the Chilled, on them. After 15,000 damage from that, you gain Ice Block on a 40-second cooldown.
Well, that's good.
That's really cool.
That's so core to a Frost Mage's just fantasy that to not take it almost felt like I wasn't a real mage. So.
Yeah, I know.
And I like...
And it differentiates us from Kel'Thuzad even more, too.
True.
My big thing on these, I love that they're increasing these like ways to separate skilled players from people that don't main these heroes. Everyone has the ability to get this. Some are just going to get it faster than others. Things like this are what's going to help people in Hero League, if you think about it. Because you can complete, not this one necessarily because it's not damage wise, but think Kel'Thuzad. Kel'Thuzad. I have to think. This is another name I have to think about.
Names.
KT.
Names gives
Rhaegar
yes.
and Rex all over again.
Think about KT. If you are really good at this champion, that's going to give your team an advantage in Hero League and solo queues to potentially help you climb, be more of a carry and climb the ladder a little more. So again, it doesn't affect it a ton. It just gives people that main those heroes and are better skilled with those heroes a slight earlier advantage, which is neat.
I think it's almost the game's replacement of creep score, like in League, for instance. I mean, we even saw something very similar to that with Asmodan's Globe of Annihilation, the stacking quest there. Same kind of idea that if you're just good at getting these abilities off, you build them up faster and do more damage. And you can kind of carry. So I like it.
And the one thing I think that I want to mention from Leoric, at least, there's a lot of stuff, is just they made change to his auto attacks. So his first and second auto attack are going to cleave, and then the third one's going to hit for double damage without cleave. And it's just going to kind of match his auto attack animation. That's really neat.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So
it makes sense. Like, he looked like he was cleaving up until now. So it just makes a lot of sense that they added that.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool flavor.
Anything else from that stuff you guys want to hit on real quick? Or I think we got in depth enough until things are officially released.
Yeah, we'll go over all this with real numbers and in exacts, and hopefully a little play testing when the PTR drops next week.
Yeah,
for sure.
Another thing worth mentioning here, Alan DeBeery did an interview at Gamescom here, and this is some potentially exciting news. Actually, not potentially, I think it is exciting. So it was kind of on Heroes 2.0 and how they've been doing things, kind of since. And Alan DeBeery, I'll read his quote here, said, "Overall, I'm very pleased with how Heroes 2.0 went. I think going forward, you're going to see us try to have more of those moments where we have this constant heartbeat of content with Heroes Battlegrounds and new content. There's something about being involved in a moment like Heroes 2.0 that I think we can uniquely capture, and we can do that by bringing some major changes to the game. So you're going to see us do stuff, not exactly the same way as 2.0. So I'm not saying 3.0, but we're going to have bigger moments in the future." Awesome.
AKA so BlizzCon.
And map editor.
Yeah, that would be nice.
In-game tournaments,
so
that's exciting.
Yeah, and honestly, this makes a lot of sense now that we are kind of post Gamescom reveals, because when we made our predictions and when I was predicting stuff, I was basing it off of last year's Gamescom, because last year was huge. We're talking 2 heroes, multiple skins, multiple mounts, and 2 maps.
Yep.
Like, that's a lot of content. This year, I mean, we got some cool stuff. We got a highly anticipated hero. We're getting a new little mini event that's going to be in the game. We're getting some really cool skins. But comparison-wise, if I were to say one thing that I was kind of sad about, it's that we didn't get a map.
Yeah.
Because the only map we've had so far this year is Hanamura, and it's gone. it was taken away. So we haven't had technically, at least currently in game, any new maps this year. And so what I'm really hoping this means is that they're saving some really major, really huge stuff for BlizzCon.
Yeah.
It seems like they are. I mean, in part
Like
because
Dwagons.
BlizzCon's just not far away either. So
It's
I can see
really
it happening.
not. We're talking what, like a little over 2 months.
Yeah.
Until BlizzCon.
Oh crap!
That's
I got a lot.
I
of
find the
nothing.
timing a little odd because Gamescom has almost become like Diet BlizzCon, essentially. I mean, you think about the other games and all the stuff they're announcing. It's been a great week to be a Blizzard fan. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, Gamescom is a huge event.
I
mean, ginormous. So it makes sense that would be like that is the place in Europe where they would make their announcements. I don't know, even more than like E3, which we've gotten some announcements at before as well.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I wanted to mention there's a video interview version of this where they go a little more in depth, and they actually did ask the question to them about the Destiny 2 heroes.
Ooh.
Like, is that a possibility? And they said currently they're not talking about it at all, and it might come up in the future, but they have hundreds of heroes on the docket, and it's probably not going to be a high priority conversation. And even if it did come up, they'd have to have some serious conversations about whether it would even fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't get your hopes up for Destiny 2 to show up in Heroes anytime soon.
But don't get your hopes down.
Which I'm okay with. I like I said, it was a month or two ago when Destiny 2 was announced. I don't really think there's any reason that there should be Destiny 2 non-Blizzard franchises inside Heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want
I
so
could
don't
understand-
have that conversation.
Yeah, I could understand them doing like one, like is some sort of crazy cross promotion thing, but I would be more than okay with never having Destiny in it, just because this is, you know, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Hearthstone, StarCraft. But you know, if they do it at some point, yeah, whatever.
You could cross promote with skins or mounts or portraits or banners.
Don't
or
cross promote with
anything.
Heroes.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, just in case there wasn't enough to talk about at Gamescom, it is Wednesday, and what does Wednesday mean? Balance patches. That's what that means. So
Apparently,
yeah, so
It's
we
the
had
thing now.
I was not expecting this, but especially with a PTR next week. But yet it came.
yes, it did, and some interesting changes along with that. So we'll hop into some here. We'll blow through some of them kind of quick, spend some time on the others. Alarak here real quick, just got a few talent changes at level 4. Negatively charged, damage bonus increased from 3 to 5%. That's modifying his E. Level 13, Blade of the High Lord, which is passive. Bonus sadism increased from 6 to 7%. Cap increased from 30 to 35%. So little buffs there, which is nice. Interesting one, Illidan the Hunt. Cooldown increased from 60 to 100 seconds. And the comment, the reason is, with his built-in cooldown reduction from Betrayer's Thirst, which has always been there, we wanted to give his enemies a bit more time to prepare. I bet he didn't see that coming. So
Snap.
Yeah.
This just is one of those things that's interesting to think about, because obviously this literally like has not changed since Illidan's been out. He's had the cooldown reduction on Hunt. I don't know if Hunt's always been 60 seconds, but it just shows like with the game evolving currently, 100 seconds that's still going to be fine, because the Hunt late game is off cooldown super fast.
Well, it's the go-to on him in the pro scene for sure, just so that you can kind of split soak a little bit and then close the gap. It's not quite a global, but it's global-ish. You know what I mean? So I'm guessing they're combating that. I mean, back in the day, it was all metamorphosis.
Oh yeah.
But now
hardly
the
ever
Hunt's
saw
where
Hunt.
it's at. So
Yeah.
This will just stop those double sub 30-second hunts.
Yeah.
Onto people after he's been kind of going crazy.
Hunt into a fight, finish people off, and then hunt to,
Hunt the survivor.
Yeah, hunt the survivor. So a little bit more time to prepare there. This is a big one. Kerrigan, sweet Kerrigan. And also interesting. So her Ravage is getting nerfed. Damage reduced from 228 to 210. Her Impaling Blades and Primal Grasp getting a buff. Damage increased from 251 to 261 on her W, and 110 to 114 on her E. Removed Energizing Grasp at level 1 and Adaptation at level 7. So, and I don't know where you were reading that from earlier, TBK, when we were talking about it, but pretty much...
Reddit.
Okay.
Yeah, someone reddited numbers.
So that wasn't from Blizzard?
No.
Okay. So this isn't from Blizzard, but it seems like this is the reason it probably was changed, and it has affected this, is on Infernal Shrines, which is her best map, let's be honest. The thing to do with her was her Q build, where you're jumping around from, I don't know what you call those, guardians, I guess, of the shrines, to just melt those suckers down to get your 40. Q, 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 Q. Apparently with this change, that is not potentially going to be... Yeah, it's not going to be consistent. That and then an auto attack may sometimes get them if you are down levels with the scaling. It's not going to finish them off. So if you're up, levels, potentially it will. So that's going to be an interesting thing. It's good if you don't go that build. If you're going like combo build, then this is potentially a buff for Kerrigan. So when I play Kerrigan on other maps, that's fine because I enjoy Kerrigan on other maps. I actually didn't like going the Q build.
And do you still like the combo build?
So weird.
Yeah, yes, I do.
This is just so weird. Like the dev comment is Kerrigan's win rate has been a steady 1% to 2% climb each patch for the last few months, which is kind of weird in and of itself, right? And while she's not demanding picks or bans at the moment, I think she's got like a 5% popularity. It's super low. As of last week, she was sitting on top of the Nexus. After closely analyzing her numbers, there was nothing standing out as a major reason for her climb upwards. So instead of doing anything massive, we felt it best to do a slight damage redistribution, moving a small percentage of her Ravage damage into her other abilities to help with some talent pick win rate issues while also bolstering her skill shot ability. It's just weird. I've been racking my brain as to why has Kerrigan been rising.
Kerrigan players are just getting better. That's it.
And that's the thing, right? When you have a very small popularity, it goes to effect that the people playing her are probably in the upper echelons of skill cap for that character. Mm-hmm. Because she's not being played by the general population. Because anytime a hero gets buffed, usually you'll see the win rate dip for a little bit and then come up because you get a ton of people playing them, most likely not optimally. And so that can affect how win rate goes. But this is really interesting to me, and it always irks me a little bit when they kind of wholesale do, like they just removed 2 talents. Just flat remove 2 talents. No replacements. Just two talent picks gone. And I honestly, I hate when they do that. They just remove talents and don't provide like replacements of any sort. Unless, because sometimes they do that as a precursor to a rework of some sort or a bigger change. But I would honestly, if that's the case here, I would honestly in the future like to see those come much closer together. Because in the past, Raynor's an example. He's had stuff pulled from him and changed. He's kind of been sitting there for forever. Yeah. Untouched. We've had other heroes get their talents, like talent picks in certain tiers, just completely removed in the past. Nothing else to replace them with. And so I don't know. It's if a talent is broken or you don't like it at all, then get rid of it, but replace it with something else. Yeah. I don't want to see less choice. I want to see good choice. So if there's a bad choice or a talent that just sucks, rework it or remove it and throw something different in. I hate to see talent trees shrink just because of either problem talents or talents that just aren't doing very well.
I'll agree with that. And I'm also kind of concerned with the concept behind this in general, because what if it really is because there is a niche group of people that play Kerrigan a lot and have gotten legitimately better with her, And so, yeah, there's been a steady 1 to 2% climb. Like, I don't think you should punish the character for that, right? Because what if Kel'Thuzad comes out and only a small kind of percentage of people really take him super seriously 2 years down the road from now, and then they really ramp up his damage and like absolutely command the battles and everything with all of his crowd control. Like, I don't want them to go into Kel'Thuzad's kit and change things around just to address like a niche group of players that are really good at him, you know?
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess
yeah,
it becomes problematic, but I don't think Kerrigan is right now.
We don't have the statistics they do, which API, please, please Blizzard. We've been hearing about that one for quite a while. I really hope that. I assume it's probably going to be a BlizzCon announcement at this point. Is, hey, here's the first version of the API. But until we get more official stuff, all we have to look on and all we have to judge on is Hotzlog stuff. And so, like you said, when you see a character that you'd hardly ever see, you never see competitively, except maybe once in a while on Infernal Shrines, because she's very good at objective clear. And I haven't seen her in a game in ages. And that's, of course, just my personal experience. So,
I haven't either, but yeah.
But at the same time, it's just one of those. And Chen down the list is another one of those like oddities. Just kind of I just don't understand, I guess,
it's
why we're getting nerfs on these extremely niche heroes.
Yeah, after reading the developer comment again, it kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth for the reasons you mentioned. One, her being niche. The other, people really don't play her that often anymore unless it is Infernal Shrines. So, of course, that's probably the reason that the win rate's climbing. If that is why, you'd think with the statistics they can see, they would be able to see why she's winning. But they're right here saying, we don't really know. So we're just going to tweak it.
Maybe they don't want to say. Like, is that possible? Because otherwise they might think people would just get in and try to abuse her on Infernal Shrines?
Well, no, that was a known thing.
As an overall thing, she's 11th on Hotslogs overall, and she has a 5.7% popularity rate.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what it was, because they were saying that, she had made it to the top of Hotslogs. So
the top of their internal stats.
Oh, okay.
Which is much more accurate than Hotslogs.
Exactly. And we don't know. And see, this is a really interesting disparity, because are they talking the top of a certain tier of players? Are they talking about the top overall? Because from an overall perspective, from Hotslogs' standpoint, she's number 11 at like 52.7% or something like that. But it implies in these notes, at least to me, and we don't have any context, we don't have the API yet, but it implies to me that she's number 1 overall.
Yeah. Because most people that play ranked, most of those games get reported to Hotslogs. So that would make sense that this is including quick match.
It is an interesting discrepancy with their internal statistics.
Yeah.
Compared to what we have.
So, again, I don't get it. I don't like the fact they change something just to change something when they don't know why they're doing it necessarily. I mean, I guess it's good to try something, but yeah, then when you go and remove talents as well without any explanation, is interesting. Like I said, the way I play her, this is great, except for Infernal Shrines, which again was the map I probably played her the most on. I have other heroes I play on other maps now.
Honestly, I don't think it's bad for a hero to have a niche map.
No, not at all.
I don't think it's bad for a hero to have a map that they're better on. That's part of heroes, right? That's part of the talents.
The whole point.
It's the talent system and it's maps.
Ban it.
Some heroes are going to be better on some maps than other maps. Some heroes will have talents to adapt to some situations better than other situations. Mm-hmm. And so I'm completely okay if a hero has 1 or 2 maps that they're really good at. That's a strategy. Ban it out. Pick it. Take advantage of it. It doesn't matter. I mean, you could blow it out of proportion, of course, to some point, but it's going to depend on the player to take advantage of that little buff or that little edge that character or that hero has on the map.
Yeah.
to play to the fullest. But I don't know. I don't know what their philosophy is on that. But I feel like, in my mind, it's okay if some heroes kind of suck on some maps but are pretty good at other maps.
Yeah.
Unless they are totally broken on given maps. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a Kerrigan player, but did you think she was prior to this on Infernal?
No, because it required, to be super effective, it required a lot of team communication. Like, your team would want to kind of zone out the area and keep the other team from getting it. If the other team gets in, yeah, she can still queue around, but not nearly as effectively, because people are going to, she needs to switch her concentration to then fighting instead of getting the objective. So it changes it a lot. But the only
Dan, which is good wave clear. You've got Kel'Thas, which is good wave clear. You've got Sonya,
Ragnaros,
who does extremely well. Yeah, there's a lot of heroes that can do extremely well on shrines.
The thing I am thinking with possibly the other thing with her win rate climbing up is potentially that's just because of the current hero pool that's being played. We've been getting a lot of heroes that don't necessarily have great escapes. Kerrigan's going to thrive in a scene where there's less heroes with great escapes because they can't get away from her pull into her stun. So I don't know. Which in that case, this is a buff to her. So I don't know. It's a weird thing, but it sounds like this is something we could potentially be seeing tweaks on for a while.
Yeah, it's just a good example of, because every once in a while you'll hit those balance changes where you just go, what type things, and this definitely was one of those for me that I thought warranted a little bit more of a discussion of this is again just another case for an API so that the community can be in sync with the devs at the very least on an information standpoint. Whereas right now, all we have is little hints and teases as to what it is, and then our own community tool, which admittedly is flawed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, a few more here. Butcher, nerf, but
he needed it so bad.
So in just the developer comments, they're talking about how they agreed. There's been feedback that with the changes that happened to him recently, it was worth it to trade your life for getting a kill with the way stacks work now. So one, they nerfed his attack damage 130 to 125. His trait, meat from hero kills, reduced from 25 to 20. Meat lost on death increased from 10 to 15. So that's a 10 meat change now whenever you die.
Yeah.
So it's not worth trading your life for, which is good. It's going to make it harder to get your stacks. And then they changed some talents around level 7. They adjusted Insatiable Blade. They removed the bonus healing, but increased movement speed bonus from 20 to 25. Victuals at 7, heal increase from 4 to 5% per minion death. 16, crippling slam bonus duration increased from 25 to 30. And then enraged, armor bonus reduced from 25 to 15. So needed changes.
Yes.
There was a lot of butcher and quick match that
went from a pub stopper to a bigger pub stomper.
Hero League stomper.
Yeah.
Anywhere where you have had unorganized play, new butcher thrives.
Mm-hmm. Thrall. Chain lightning, mana cost reduced 45 to 40. Talent changes, crash lightning at 1, damage per stack increase 10 to 12. Rolling thunder, mana return per attack increase from 12 to 15. So some buffs there. Level 4 mana tide, mana return reduced from 20 to 15, and then 16 thunderstorm added functionality. Damage from final quest reward now also applies to chain lightning bounces. So that seems good. I still actually haven't played Thrall since his quest talent.
Oh, he's super fun,
quest, dude.
I really need to.
Come on, guys.
I know.
He's not my playstyle, man. I'll try it.
Take the talent where you get the double lightning.
Yeah.
After the kills, that one's really fun.
It did sound fun.
Sounds even better now. Zul'jin, Bone Slicer, damage increased 20 to 30%. Woo. It's
Yay.
Big change to Ryan's favorite hero. How's that going to impact you, Ryan?
I'm still not going to play him.
Another one that was it was needed here. Zul. Raise skeletons. Skeleton health reduced from 270 to 240. Skeletal mages, cooldown increase 70 to 90. Both probably needed. 7,
Yes.
Trow Cool's essence, healing reduced from 1 to 0.5 per skeleton basic attack. Mana return increased from 0.4 to 0.5 per skeleton basic attack. 13, Echoes of Death. Gracie, are you dying? Damage reduced from 70 to 60% of Spectral Scythe's damage.
And that was a dog. It's
That was-
not. It's not a.
Yeah,
person
that
that's
was my
dying.
dog. Sorry.
Excuse me, are you dying? Let me continue this.
Sir,
I'm-
are you?
Echoes
I'm
of
podcasting
dead.
here. Jeez.
That's right.
Echoes of
So
death.
selfish.
Gracie was just doing her own Echoes of Death.
Yeah. Hey, she's old, man. She's an old pug. So I am. These are needed changes. I'm a little sad I didn't play more Azul before he got his nerf because it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Zagara Mutalisk at 16, duration reduced 45 to 30 seconds. Thank God. That's one of the most annoying talents in the
It really
entire
is,
game.
isn't it?
I hate it. It's like instant. Anytime that thing's cast on you, it's just like, well, I guess I'm done here. Let me just run away and still get hit for no reason. Freaking Mutalisk.
You either have to stop, turn around, and kill it,
Or just run.
and take Zagara damage while you're killing it.
Yep.
Or you run away until you can get behind a wall and take damage as it's shooting you. on the
Yeah.
wall. It's a wonderful poking talent.
God, it's awful.
That's what
Ariel.
Lisk are supposed to do. You got to get in there and play some StarCraft Remastered, and you'll understand.
Yeah.
You get it.
This one's pretty big.
Yeah, so this they made this because they didn't want her to be as reliant on a hyper carry to be an effective healer. So it's some interesting stuff. With that, her Bestow Hope and her D, the Hope generation ratio from hitting heroes has been increased from 40 to 50%. That's a pretty big buff. Then some interesting stuff. Sacred Sweep, the outer damage reduced from 80 to 60, but the center damage increased from 160 to 180. So just redistributing where the damage is at. Overall, that's a slight nerf probably because you won't hit as many people in the center. Detainment Strikes, initial damage reduced from 115 to 58. Stun damage increased from 115 to 174. And then Resurrect cooldown reduced from 120 to 100 and removed Bursting Light at 7. So it seems this patch especially, and from what we've seen from Gamescom, seems like they're really wanting to raise the skill cap of a lot of heroes.
Yeah, I mean, you can just kind of see it in there. The higher skill cap portions of both the Q and the E now reward you
Yeah.
for doing it. But
I agree.
they kind of nerf the regular thing. And
So it's going to, it's rewarding higher skill.
and this is a big deal too. And I'm not sure, they may need to balance Ariel a little more because of it. But Bursting Light was literally a must take at level 7 because this is the talent that reduced your healing from 4 seconds to 2 seconds.
Oh yeah.
And so now you won't have that. So that's why you got that big 10% buff to the hope generation, was so that your heals mattered more when you cast them now versus more maybe small heals on the 2-second cooldown, or if you had a really good hope generator, large heals on a 2-second cooldown, which could be extremely strong, especially when you paired her with Shogal, because you can instantly fill that hope bar so quickly. So Bursting Light was incredibly strong. So it'll be interesting to see where she ends up after this, if she kind of just falls off the map completely because she's no longer that secondary support potentially, because they even say we hope to make her less common in double support team compositions, but they're going to have, because of that, they're going to have to make sure that hope generation with that Bursting Light remove balances out well enough to be able to be that solo support that she needs to be too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that they want to take her away from having to have that hyper carry, yet now, I mean, I guess it makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it'll work out. And I do like the idea of cutting down the double support comp meta a little bit. And this may help with that. So, yeah.
I went against 4 tanks in the support and got my butt kicked today. So that's the new thing. Not fun. Not fun at all. Lucio?
Can I cover Lucio? Can
Go
I do
for
it? Okay, Lucio is getting the Anubarak treatment, everybody. Base maximum health increased from 1,380 to 1,518, and then health regen increased from 2.86 to 3.16. Lucio's back, people. Health changes.
That's actually a really big.
No,
he's definitely less squishy.
But yeah, he's less squishy, which is nice for him because he kind of needs to get in there sometimes.
And
not a bad change.
No, I like it, but he's the new Anubarak, guys. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yep. And this next one's really funny too, because as I coined it earlier, let's all jump back on the roller coaster of emotion that is Tassadar. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, we've had our loop-de-loops, we've had our upside down inverted corkscrews, we've had our fly off the tracks and crash and burn. And so we continue the loop-de-loop that is basic attack damage getting reduced again from 15 to 14. Maximum health getting reduced from 1426 to 1355. So he's squishier now than Lucio used to be. just if you want a little comparison there. And then his health regen was reduced from 297 to 28, which is funny. And then his Kadarin resonance bonus mana from regen globes is increased from 50 to 100%. I have to go back, and I may be completely wrong on this, but I feel like Tassadar has probably exceeded the number, or is now in first place for the most hero changes ever.
It's possible.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
I really want to look this up because he is just it just feels like Blizzard doesn't quite know what to do with him. And he has been probably one of their top 3, if not their top, I would say, hardest hero to balance.
It's because he needs to be an assassin, not a sport.
Yes. you know, Blizzard, you could fix this all by just removing his shielding ability and then just giving him some sort of something else and changing it to an assassin.
Could be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to do it, though.
No.
I was listening to you guys last week, and I was like, I don't see them doing it.
He was the most voted from our poll as to missing the fantasy mark.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
Which I thought was kind of interesting.
Speaking of poll here, because I forgot to put this in the notes, from our last week's poll concerning the Twitch Prime Loot Crate, I was in the minority this time. It was like 89% or something prefer how it is currently. Of the loot crates. Yeah, and then like 10% or something like that were with me in wanting like Twitch cosmetic banners and sprays and stuff. So, interesting poll. I enjoy doing this. A couple more sports here real quick. Tyrande. This is interesting. So going back on our discussion last week, I forgot who sent in the question. We've been talking about counters.
It was 126, episode 126. The question was sent in by Wonderbread, asking about countering silences.
Yeah.
So go on.
Yeah, so we've been talking about counter silences, shields, stuff like that. Well, we didn't really know what we could do to counter silences. Well, the answer's here. Level 4 Celestial Attunement, added functionality, also removes silences. Tyrande, there you go. Silence.
Which I believe includes taunts.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
I need to test
I wonder if you did that. I wonder if you did that, if you'd still be rooted, you would just be able to use abilities. That's
like you're still drawn to them, but you can cast things. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That would be very strong.
Silence you in a way, but it also.
I'm gonna have to do some testing.
Yeah, because that would be. Oh man, that's.
Because I'm not sure what taunt is quite classified as, because I think it's its own thing.
Yeah, it would have, because that would be way too strong. So, that completely negates Varian and.
Yeah, because your heal would be up every time his taunt was.
Yeah, I mean, more than that.
Well, this is live now, so after show game.
Yeah,
you get
potentially
enough people on either side. We can try it.
Yeah.
Caldori Resistance. Max spell armor stacks reduced from 4 to 3. It's level 4, 13 in power. Added functionality also lowers the base cooldown of Sentinel by 4 seconds. F Owls. I had a really bad time with Owls earlier today. Harsh Moonlight, slow amount reduced from 30% to 25%, and damage reduction from 30 to 25. So more changes there. And then Uther, the other needed changes. I am actually pretty happy with the direction they're going here. So yeah, overall, they have nerfed his armor given, but tried to compensate with healing. So armor for healing allies, his traits with basic abilities reduced from 25 to 15. His Holy Light Q, healing increase from 360 to 380. Self-healing increase from 180 to 190. His W, Holy Radiance, healing and damage increase from 160 to 185. And then Wave of Light at level 1, bonus duration of armor buff on quest completion reduced from 1 to 0.5 seconds, and mana return reduced from 8 to 5 per hero hit. Holy Fire at 4, damage reduced from 16 to 14 per second. I like those. What about you guys?
Yeah, and this is another, and from the developer comments, this is another disincentivizing people to run two supports with him. Because he just was able to buff so well. Took him and then another damagey type support, and there's just so much armor flying around.
Yeah,
that it was a little rough to get through.
Yeah, he would pad someone else's healing essentially, and then let them do the true healing.
He just supplies the armor.
Yeah, so this is good.
I really do like it. Warriors here. 2 warrior changes. Chin, max health reduced from 2550 to 2473. Health regeneration reduced from 5.3 to 5.15. Level 7, refreshing elixir removed. Purifying brew moved from 20 to 7. And the cooldown increased from 10 to 45. And then 16 flying leap bonus range reduced from 20 to 15. I don't really understand.
This is another Kerrigan situation. Like, I don't know why we need Ched nerfs.
No, I was playing
a hero that is played by like 3% of people.
And then reducing his health. I was playing against a Chin today and was just ripping through him even when he's drinking his brew as Greymane. Like, just the shield wasn't even there.
That he's drinking.
This doesn't have a developer explanation either. So it's just this is a Kerrigan classification. It's completely, it doesn't make, from the data we have, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah.
And right now he's a little higher win rate because apparently one of his talents has been bugged, and that's been helping him out some. But you don't balance based on a bugged talent.
Yeah,
either.
especially when the bug isn't fixed in this patch.
Yeah. So that just, it's another one of those head scratchers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then lastly, Garrosh, Warlord's Challenge, taunt duration increased from 1.5 to 2 seconds. That's good. Level 1, Unrivaled Strength, increased throw range from 20% to 30%, and bonus damage from 100 to 125%.
Whee!
So
extra whee.
I'm going to have to start testing that out. That sounds fun.
That does sound fun. I love that talent anyway.
Yeah, level 4 in for the kill, increased bonus damage from 60 to 70, and 7 into the fray no longer costs mana. So Garrosh, who, by the way, I will say, I think our thoughts were pretty unfounded when it came to us worrying about him as a solo tank. I think he is doing fine. I think he feels really strong, and now we gave him buffs.
Yeah, these are buffs, right? Exactly. So it's occurred to me that I've missed our last 2 hero episodes. Stukov because I was out for a work week where I had terrible internet, and Garrosh because I was sick. So just so you guys know, though, I really like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
and I agreed with everything you guys said.
He's definitely picked up some. Like he's at 47.7% win rate right now overall, so he's definitely picked up some from where he was. I don't know. He's not in a terrible spot. I still feel like he's a little squishy to heavy burst, but
that's okay because he's so good against sustained damage. I think.
He's a tank you pick in certain situations.
Yeah,
and that's how it needs to be. Like that's exactly how they've been talking about. They're moving with their heroes. It's a hero may be your favorite, but it may just not be optimal for a specific situation or against a specific comp. There's nothing wrong with that, and that just is going to allow them to add a larger variety of heroes to the game and make that rock paper scissors thing a little more useful.
Yeah. I think his win rate is going to rise once people stop picking him in compositions shouldn't be picked in. Like
That's
I've
true.
seen him picked in a lot of like heavy mage
Like
comps.
solo queue quick match.
Well, no, just like in Hero League, I've seen him picked a couple times in heavy mage comps, which isn't the greatest, and they're throwing people back to their mages, and like that's not good. You don't want to do that. I've done that on accident before. So I think he's in a good spot, but we'll see what those do. Those are the changes. Quite a few in this balance patch.
Yeah. It's a big
yeah.
balance patch.
So
Which is again funny because it's on the eve of a giant PTR patch, but whatever.
yeah,
We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, things could be changing here. Meta being shaken up, especially if that Tyrande gets rid of taunts fairly soon. I can't wait to try that out because that would be nuts. Let's go ahead, get on into the HGC. All right, so we had a week off, our bye week this last week, heading into regular play here this weekend. TBK, what have we gotten over the past week leading up here?
Just a few things real fast that I wanted to point out. First, Heroes Hearth, as I've mentioned several times before on the show, it's just kind of a Heroes of the Storm
Facebook.
social media site, pretty much. It's got a sweet hero builder, got a blog thing, all sorts of cool features. They have actually sponsored a team, but not an HGC team. They've actually sponsored an HGC Open Division team.
Okay.
It is the roster of Hold It Down, which is Arthalon, BBJ, Ishbu, Crowan, and McIntyre. And I believe they are either second place or leading the points leaderboard of the NAHGC Open. And I assume the pickup is because they have a very good chance of knocking out one of the two Crucible teams coming up after BlizzCon or right before BlizzCon or whatever. I don't have those dates right in front of me, but really cool to see. This is one of the first sponsorships I think we've ever seen of a non-HGC team. But it'll be really, really good for Heroes Hearth and really, really good for those guys if within the upcoming season of HGC, they do end up knocking out one of the Crucible teams, because that will then lead into salaried positions, new for some of them, picking it back up for others, and really just good advertising for Heroes Hearth as well.
Oh, yeah. And I like some of the names on this team, too. I think it's not impossible.
Yeah. So in actual HGC news, E-Star has disbanded. And WKG has been relegated. So new teams, The One and Beyond the Game, will be replacing them when HGC China resumes on August 28th. So kind of sad to see E-Star go.
It makes
especially at mid-season brawl, they really showed off some good stuff. But
it makes sense.
I think they replaced several members. So
yeah, it makes sense. Unfortunately, that is the organization that has continually had problems with their visas. So they have not been able to participate in
the big tournaments,
including BlizzCon.
It's been super rough for them.
Yeah, it makes sense that an organization wouldn't want to be funding a team that they're not able to really make any money off of when it comes to the big prize pools.
But hopefully these new teams, new blood in China, we'll see some really good play, and we'll see some good stuff out of them. And then, as alluded to last week, Naventics players have parted ways with the Naventic organization and will be playing under the name Leg Force, beginning with their series versus Space Station Gaming, which is previous No Tomorrow. It just got picked up this Friday, August 25th.
You know their
Space
names.
Station Gaming is the new esports organization. So
I was gonna say, you know their name is gonna be Lagif, and then their name.
I hope so. I mean, that's what I expect. If it's not, I'm gonna actually be pretty disappointed.
That's better than Bob Ross Fan Club. Actually, I appreciate that.
But yeah, that all starts back up this Friday, the 25th, at normal HGC time. So be sure to tune in to kind of see how the standings are. We've been kind of out of the loop for several weeks, so I'm excited to jump back in and have Heroes Esports on the weekends again.
Yep, and 6 regular weeks left until heading into the Crucible and the HGC playoffs. So 6 more weeks. What do you got for
5 more weeks?
5? The 5 more?
Yeah, 5 more weeks.
Community content this week is pretty darn neat.
This is pretty cool. Somebody exported all these Heroes models into Steam's Source Filmmaker and made a cool little video. And it's really hard to describe. You just kind of have to watch it. The link, of course, will be in the show notes, and I'll be linking in our Twitch chat. But it's very impressive, and they did a great job considering that they pulled the models out and did everything in the Source Filmmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
I'll say
I was kind of blown away, honestly. I went into it going like, okay, it's one of those goofy little community videos. No, not this one. Really well done.
I will say there was a little controversy behind this, of it being like the first half of it is directly representing
it's based
the
off
Paragon.
Of the intro to the Paragon thing, and the person who posted it mentioned it.
Yes, well,
but none of it is actually ripped from it. It's basically just kind of a play-by-play of a similar styling from the intro.
Yeah, just for like the first 30 seconds or so, and then from that it gets on into battle scenes and stuff, and that's all his stuff. But
I mean, it's all his stuff. He just based it off of. Nothing was copied or anything. It's just.
Well, yeah, he didn't directly take it, but it is like if you were reading a script, it's the same thing. But it is very, very cool, and it's one of those things I was mentioning. I wish I could do that, and I can't.
Oh, yeah.
And never will be able to.
Adulting.
Maybe I can learn to make a GIF from it or something, like a guy did in the comments. We have time for one email here. Multi, I know you want to get to this email for sure, so let's go ahead and hop into this. All right, Core Gaming sent this question, and it's just speaking to Multi.
Speaking to my soul. So yes, okay, Core writes, we've gotten cross-promotion with Overwatch, WoW, StarCraft, and Diablo, I think. Do you think we'll ever see some sort of cross-promo with Hearthstone? Even just releasing a hero from the newest Hearthstone expansion kind of thing. The hero tease looked like Blood Queen before I read any text, and that's what got me thinking about this. So good point, Core. Absolutely. And so, yeah, you know, I think I've said this a few times passionately before, but I think that Hearthstone is probably the least represented game in the game, if you will, just in general. And I would love for there to be any more cross promo there. Like we've got the mount, we've got some. They're not really cross promo, but there's those portraits that are the hero faces for the base heroes within Hearthstone. But there's really not like some major. You know, I mean, we don't have like a map or any specific hero that is specifically Hearthstone strictly, as opposed to like, I mean, we have like Jaina and some of the other heroes that are the base heroes within Hearthstone, but they're more like their World of Warcraft or just general Warcraft representations than they are like a true Hearthstone thing to me. So yes, I would absolutely love this. I think in particular, you know, we just saw that new Hearthstone cinematic today came out.
Oh.
And so we've seen the innkeeper in pretty good detail in that one. I think we could see him here too. I think there's a ton of Hearthstone-specific stuff that could be done with the innkeeper. And yeah, I mean, sure, turn it into a whole thing like this Kel'Thuzad event and release a bunch of Hearthstone-themed skins. All of those new Death Knight cards for Hearthstone in this expansion, the Knights of the Frozen Throne. Every single one of them would be super cool as a skin. So I'm just saying, it could happen.
Yeah. I think the thing that would make the most sense from Hearthstone coming over is obviously patches. No. Would be skins from cards. Other than that, like, yeah, you could come up with some weird heroes and stuff like patches, but I think that would be like a BlizzCon. We'd get one every once in a while. There's just more important people to hit in the game that are also in Hearthstone. Like I know with your definition, it's the most, you said, you know, you kind of feel like it's the most unrepresented, but technically it's kind of like the second most represented. If you're going straight from like heroes in the game. So,
in a way, but again, I just don't think their abilities are so Hearthstone specific that it doesn't have a Hearthstone feel. So in that sense, I don't think it's
we
very
got
well
Hearthstone
represented.
Garrosh.
Yeah, okay, we've got Garrosh, but again, one of his ultimates is not Brawl, which causes all of the enemies and teammates to die except for one, which would be quite Hearthstone, but also not good. So
It'd be nice if it did it like everyone within a radius brawls, but it has to include people from both team.
Right, yeah,
So,
of course.
Yeah. I don't know, TBK, what do you think?
I don't know. Hearthstone probably has the least amount of story, lore, characters, unique characters around it. So I can understand why it is one of the least represented games, quote unquote, because most of the characters are everywhere else in other games, because Hearthstone pulls from other games as well. There are a few unique ones at this point. Personally,
come on, Sir Finley Murgleton.
they got a few good ones.
Yes,
they've got
that'd
a
be a
few
cool
good
skin.
ones, but personally, I think there's a lot more heroes I'd like to see added before we got into any sort of Hearthstone stuff. I could see some Hearthstone sprays getting added, some more Hearthstone portraits, but yeah, personally, from a Hearthstone perspective, I think there's a lot more stuff I'd like to see first.
Yeah.
But the Innkeeper, you remember my old idea where you drag and drop cards onto the board and then control them?
Yeah.
It could be done.
Could happen. BlizzCon.
Could be done.
BlizzCon 2017.
Could be done. No, dragons. We're all about the
Both.
dragons. Dragons at BlizzCon.
The Innkeeper plays the dragon cards. Gosh.
Obviously. Deathwing's one of the cards, and we never actually get Deathwing in the game. Boom. Perfect.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for the show this week. Multi, where can we be reached?
I see you cut me off there. That was a wise choice. We can be found in-game by typing /join space LOTS, or you can join our Discord, which is sticky to the top of our Twitter, at Lords of the Storm. We're also on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central. You can also check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can send us email with feedback or questions, lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. And if you want to help out the show, a couple good ways of doing it. We have, of course, the ability for you to review us. 5-star iTunes reviews are really particularly appreciated, as are our Patreons on patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where, again, you give any amount that you deem appropriate for the services we render, and it's free if you don't.
Yeah, it is. You can also find us individually, myself on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all those things, at GizmoZord, as well as Convert to Raid presents the BattleNet News. Yes, the BattleNet News, which is 10 p.m. Central on Tuesdays, except for this last week we did a Monday recording. Multi, where can you be reached?
I'm on Twitter at Multizord, and I also want to point you guys to The Cavalry, which is now live Wednesdays at 7:30, just right before this, Central Time, on twitch.tv/The Cavalry Show. And again, I really think they've hit their stride lately. I think the new host, Mel, is really good. And just in general, I mean, now that they've gone live, I don't know if you guys tuned in at all a little bit earlier tonight, but Tank Zord was rocking a set of pajamas that was like an old bet that he and I had that he lost, and he was supposed to wear those pajamas out one night, but never did. But now he's worn them on stream. So thank you, Tank. The bet is completed.
And TBK.
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord, twitch.tv/TBKZord. I'm streaming now Mondays and Thursday nights, usually on the regular, and then whenever else I can.
Yeah, and that's going to do it. We want to give a special thanks to our patron and producer, Ouroboros Sword, for helping support the show. We always do appreciate it, as usual. So yeah, we'll see you same time, same place next week. Send your KT intro submissions in. And don't forget to sign up for Lords of the Lane. 7. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Enough. I shall do no more.
Oh, sorry, Multi. I didn't actually mean to cut you off. I was